Greetings, I'm RSV. In today's video we'll be talking about the rugged weapon series and how to augment the weapons and armors you are using to complement your rugged weapon. The rugged weapon has 50% damage variance, therefore it requires different builds for it to be most effective. The effect of potency floor is in question, because the way that potency floor works is it multiplies with your base potency floor, and because the potency floor is so low, it will cause potency floor on your weapons and units to lose some degree of value. But since there is a huge gap in the potency floor, people have suggested going for a full damage variance reduction build. So let's address what the best build is for these weapons for an offensive, defensive, and with or without Decold. Starting with offensive builds 1 and 2, build 1 has 60.9% damage variance and 63.9% potency. This build is focusing on potency and is including augments that increase only potency while ignoring potency floor. The next build, build 2, and the favorite of this series, has 71.4% damage variance and 57.6% potency. As you can see, the damage variance is a lot higher in this case, and the potency is fairly close. So despite the first build having more potency, the second build does more damage. Now onto the offensive builds without Decold. Build 1 has 65.9% damage variance, 60.7% potency, and it's just your regular meta build. Build 2 has 77.2% damage variance, 42.8% potency, and focuses on building your potency floor with the inclusion of Dreadkeeper, technically making it a defensive option. However, it is not defensive because it includes Out Sequita free. And something here you'll notice is that build 2 is a lot weaker than build 1. Build 1, the high potency build, does a little bit over 40 points more damage against the average enemy and has 5 points higher on enemies with higher armor, and that gap will only get bigger as you multiply more multipliers on. Onto the defensive builds, and I technically have 4 builds for you here. However, one of them I've already gone over and one of them I'm about to go over technically because it is very close in numbers to build 1, which consists of 65.9% damage variance, 48.45% potency. This setup is a standard meta build including Decold potency and is sacrificing either Gigas or Soul potency to include Decold. Build 2 consists of 71.4 damage variance, 45.6% potency, and is focused on increasing your damage variance as high as possible. And really what you'll notice here is, in this case, because Dreadkeeper is involved and it's lowering the average amount of damage down even further, the value of potency cannot push ahead of the value of damage variance in this circumstance. And the next 2 builds are offensive build 2 without Decold and defensive build 1 with Decold, but without Decold. Comparing these two is fairly interesting. In this case, again, both builds are fairly close together. So from today's findings, it seems offensive build 2 is the best build you can go with out of all the builds here in terms of damage for the offensive builds. Of course, if you're not using Decold, use either Gigas potency or potency soul. As for the defensive builds, it seems like they're all fairly low in terms of damage, and they are all fairly close as well. However, defensive build 2 does seem to take the gold medal here for the defensive builds. Replacing Decold with Out Sequita free will increase your damage at the cost of some of your tankiness. However, Decold can also be, again, replaced with a Gigas or potency soul augment. But I've been RSV. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will see you next time.